me.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Quisha, but I go by Unappreciated Beauty here on YouTube. And if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe before you click out of this video and click the notification bell. That way you never miss another upload from me. And also, if you have not followed me on my social media platforms, I'll leave all the information in this video or in the description box down below. So I'm going to be doing a review on the new James Charles and Morphe palette. This is a collaboration that Morphe did with James Charles here on YouTube. So if you want to see more about this review, just keep on watching. So per usual, before I start my reviews, with just a little bit of information just to give you guys a good idea of what we're going to be looking for and what we're going to be expecting out of this palette. This review was highly requested and I'm super excited to bring it to you guys. I love when you guys leave recommendations because that helps and that keeps you guys, you know, in tune on my channel, and I just really appreciate that. Okay, so I'm just gonna start with the overall details about this palette. So this is the James Charles palette. It retails for $39 on Ulta site and Morphe. On both websites you can use discount codes. So this palette comes with 39 shades, from mattes to metallics to shimmery colors, so you guys have options. Also includes transitional shades. It's supposed to be a really lit palette, and to be honest, I think they were trying to replace the 35B. I really hope Morphe sees, you know, all of the requests for 35B, because 35B is a really good palette. It does have a dry formula to it, but it's really good, and it definitely helps if you are a beginner in makeup. So they give you all the shade names per row. There's 5 rows. So yeah, you're supposed to be able to use this palette. It's supposed to be versatile. I'm going to show you guys the overall packaging. So it comes in a box like this. It comes in a huge box. It has James Charles' face on it. So he says, "Hi sisters, James Charles here and welcome back to my palette. I love glam, but I also have a huge passion for crazy, colorful, outside the box makeup, and I created this palette with that in mind. I included every beautifully formulated shade necessary to create literally any look you can possibly imagine. I can't wait to see what you come up with when you unleash your inner artist." So the front of the packaging has Morphe times James Charles with his signature. It's like a matte black. It's really, really cute on the packaging. I really like that. So when you open it up, it says unleash your inner artist, and then it also has all the names, which is on the plastic. It would have been beautiful if they put the names on here. While it says unleash your inner artist right here, they should have had the names underneath like that, and that would have been so pretty. Here is the overall look. As far as you can see, it's super pretty. It has 39 eyeshadows. It has small pans and some medium-sized pans, like blush type of pans, and they want you to have a pretty good amount of pigment, and most of these shades in this row you will need the most. So a lot of people like these for transitions and to make their inner crease or whatever pop. So I did compare to my 39A, and most of these shades you can't find in the other one. So they do have some pretty unique shades in this palette. So I really don't want to make the beginning of this video too long, but I just want you guys to be able to compare. That way it's easier for you to shop, because I know how I am when I'm just skimming through videos and I'm like, okay, do I really need this? Like, I'll be trying to make a decision for like hours and it's ridiculous. What I have here is the 39A and the James Charles palette. So if you are shopping and you're in between the James Charles and 39A, just screenshot this so you can compare the colors and, you know, see if you want one versus the other. I always have to dip back into my 39A because most of these middle shades are my type of transition color. I don't have a transition color on the James Charles palette, so I like to pick out of this palette to have my transition shade. So here's the James Charles palette. He has this shade, but it's a flesh tone color on me and it doesn't show up. So people that are my skin tone, you actually don't have a transition shade in this palette. I also have the 35B, and this is how the 35B looks. Okay, I'm trying to be like super careful, but if you want to screenshot this you can. But this is the Morphe 35B compared to the James Charles palette. So this is beautiful how this looks like as a comparison, but as you can see, the 35B has a lot of similar shades to the James Charles palette. So I'm just saying, like, it looks like it can replace it. It just has some extra colors in there. So I know I'm still looking a little crusty, but I want to give you guys an in-depth type of review. In-depth, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so if you have the palette, I'm going to swatch the shades that are in this palette versus 35B. There are a lot of similar shades, and I'm just looking at it now. It looks like they just perfected the formula. So if you have the 35B, James Charles palette would be an upgrade, but you don't need a certain type of base when you're using the 35B. So the shade Punch Me is a flesh tone color. So here's that shade. And then I'm going to swatch the same shade in from 35B. So another shade that's the same is the Canvas shade. And this is more like a concealer type of color for fair skin. So this is from James Charles. And this is from 35B. Just from feeling the texture, this is the 35B but creamier. There are a lot of similar colors. This is from James Charles palette, and this is the blue from the 35B. This is the pink from the James Charles palette, and this is the pink from the 35B. So this is the yellow from the James Charles palette, and just pack on that pigment. So that's the yellow from James Charles palette. And then this is the yellow from 35B. Whoa! So it looks like, you can't really tell, but this one is from 35B. It's a lot more pigmented than the yellow from James Charles palette. I'm going to swatch the green from the James Charles palette. And then the green from 35B. Because the green from 35B is not that great, but just like some swatch comparisons. I did all the flesh tone colors, and then these are like the bright pigments. This is the purple from the James Charles palette, and then the purple from 35B. Sorry, my swatches are not going to be that great. And there's an orange shade in here from 35B that looks the same too. Here's that orange shade. It's like a burnt fiery type of red. And then from 35B. So this is from 35B. This was from James Charles. I just watched a few from 35B, but this is technically the same. I think the only thing they added on was the middle row, which is the third row in the James Charles palette. Okay, I just went ahead and did some of my brows. That way I can go ahead and start on the eye look. I'm going to take my Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer. And this is what I've been using to prime my lids lately. And then to set as a primer base, I'm going to use the Huda Beauty Overachiever Concealer in the shade Peanut Butter. So you can use any type of translucent powder. I've been using the Beauty Bakery translucent powder, and I've also been using the Too Faced powder, so I'm guessing there's no like certain powder that would restrict the formula from like working. So I just press it all in. So the first color I'm going to take is this shade right here, and I'm going to use that as like the base. And it doesn't show up that great. Well, it doesn't show up at all. It doesn't show up at all on my skin tone, but that's okay. Shade right here. This one is showing up pretty good. I thought it would be like a little toned down, but it's actually super pigmented. And I guess the more I pack it on, the more it's gonna show up. So right here. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with like a different brush for this inner part right here. I don't normally like make this part too deep because of my eye shape, but this shade here, I'm just going to use that on the outer corner. So I do see quite a bit of fallout on this palette. I always say fallout is not a big deal to me, but it is when you're in a rush and eyeshadow is like literally going everywhere. And I will say every color is pretty much giving kickback. So see if I can get a close up, but when it's a lot of fallout, that's when it's like okay. All the colors are like meshing well together, and they are super pigmented. I am like getting this like ashy vibe over here, but I don't think it's gonna look like that on camera. I did watch another review and a girl was using like the purples and the pinks and the oranges. To be honest, the palette does come off a little ashy on deeper skin, and I did see that coming up on other people as well, but what do I know? I'm going to take my ColourPop concealer, and I use the shade 1050. I'm just going to use this to cut my crease. And when you cut your crease, just keep looking down while it's wet, and then just go over it with a powder. That way you don't mess it up. Pack on this white. Why not just use most of the shades? Maybe it'll be helpful to someone. I saw James like commenting on other beauty gurus videos, and he was pretty much critiquing them on how to use the colors. So this white isn't showing up, and more than likely it's because I already set my base, but it's not working. So as you can see, the white is on my brush and it's not coming off. Like, it's not applying at all. So if you set your cut crease, or if you set anything and try to apply it on top, it's not gonna work. I'll try on my hands and see. If I would have never set my eyeshadow, I probably could have applied it on, but I don't know how to get that to work, so I'm not going to use it. So I'm going to go back in over here. Yeah, it's packing on really good as far as me doing this. I don't think I can use another brush for that white though. Let me see. There it goes a little bit. So maybe just a more synthetic brush or like a fluffy brush. It's not like super popping, but I know I used it wrong, so I'm just trying to like see if I can still use it. But so here's how it's looking. I'm gonna go ahead and finish my makeup, and then I'll come right back with the rest of my review. Okay, so makeup look is done. Everything came out really good. I did use a shade in here for my inner tear duct highlight, and then around my eyeshadow. For my inner tear duct highlight and brow bone highlight, I used So Good, and that one is like popping. And I just want you guys to see that pigment on there. I've like swiped through this palette so many times, so the pigment is definitely there. So yeah, as far as my first impression, I would give this palette a 3 out of 5, mainly because you have to have a base when you're applying the eyeshadow, and a lot of times if you think about it, if you have to have a primer and you don't normally use a primer, you definitely want your makeup look to come out right. So why should I have to use a base, especially if I'm on the go and I just want to pop on a little color and go? Like, that just doesn't work for people who are not only makeup artists but who just like to wear color. Sometimes a lot of people know how like their skin is, so in order to make this palette work, if you need a base for it before you apply it, I just don't think that's fair, you know what I mean? Like when it comes to product quality, that's not fair. You should be able to use a palette for what it is. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. It could have got a 4 if it wasn't so ashy on medium to dark skin tones, and I tried to fix it multiple times. I don't know how, to be honest, and I've never had a product show up so ashy on me. That's a no bueno, especially for people who want to buy this palette. It's already expensive. It's like low-key expensive, if that makes sense. I feel like Morphe always keeps their $20 palettes, I think like $20 to $23 palettes are very affordable, and it makes people want to purchase it because it's affordable and it's also like good quality. I feel like these shadows are very ashy. Now the pigment is there, but when you're applying the product, it does come off ashy on deeper skin tones, and that's not his fault. He's not dark skin or medium skin. He's like super fair, like up there, like white. I would expect the pigment to come out fire for him. Yeah, it's just not one of those palettes that we would expect it to work very well for us, and it's not saying that in any type of way. It's just what I've been noticing as far as me actually using the palette. If you want to stay tuned to the end of the video, I'll show you guys some swatches. I did swatches fresh out the packaging. I will say, as far as the first row, I had some problems with the first row, and then from the second row to the last row, the pigment was definitely there, but upon first swatch, the swatches weren't that great. So I went in just to take a picture. I didn't actually film me putting all the colors swatched out on my hand. You have to warm up the palette a little bit to get the pigment to show. It's just one of those palettes where I really can't like say like how to use it, because only he know how to use his palette, and the pigment is there. Like, that's what we want. We want pigment, but it shouldn't be so hard to use a palette. The white didn't show up. I used the base before, and I actually set my base before I applied the shadow, and it still didn't work. So I've used this palette twice. I came up with a green eyeshadow look, and then the look that I have for you guys today. The green eyeshadow look is up on my Instagram, so if you want to follow me on Instagram or just go watch it, that's perfectly fine. You can see how the pigment showed up on my skin tone, and then through this review you'll see how the pigment of the like brick reds and like oranges showed up on my skin tone. I will say I'm not knocking the product. I'm not saying the pigment isn't there, because it definitely is, but it's just one of those palettes you have to know how to use. I don't feel like it helps people, you know what I mean, if you have to figure out how to use something. So you guys let me know what you think. I like how my makeup look came out, but it did come out a bit ashy on me. Some of the colors are better than others, and it is like pretty patchy. If you guys have any recommendations, just let me know. If you like this video, don't forget to thumbs up before you go, and I will see you guys in my next upload. Bye.